Hey everyone, welcome back to the bench and welcome back to part 3 of my beginner's pendant workshop. And in this part, we're going to use the rest of the wire up that we got left over. Nothing heavy, we're not going to go mad. We're just going to do a little bit of bending, a little bit of twisting and focus on spirals because spirals seems to be the perfect finish for a beginner. Easy to do, doesn't have to overthink anything. And also it's one of those beginner skills I think you need to really crack from the start and really hone them and make them your own, because I'm going to show you my stylized spiral I use. But you're going to might want to create your own, or very similar to mine. Anyway, should we have a look at what we're actually going to do today. So this is what we're going to get up to today. Nothing too heavy, nothing special, just some basic spirals around the front here. Get back into focus. There we go. That's a bit better. So yeah, just some simple spirals, simple bending of the wire around the front, a little bit of wrapping there, a little bit of that's going to test you, a little bit of wrapping there, but nothing too heavy. We're just going to like I say, focus on creating spirals in this kind of design, this kind of stone. I'm not a fan of bringing the wire down the front here. You'll see plenty of designs like that. There's nothing wrong with that. You might like to do that. I'm just not a fan of that. I will bring it a little bit down. Otherwise, I don't like covering the stone, because really this kind of wrap for me is all about just showing the stone off. And that's why I do something really cool with the bell. And I advance the bell, because to me, that's where the wire work is on this style of wrap. It's not about bringing it down the front of the stone. Well, that's personal choice. I will say this. I don't like that, but you do. You might. So you might go for it. And as everybody says, you do you. So, but today we're going to do me. And we're going to stick to something very simple. Like I say, just some simple spirals, simple ideas, and how to perfect the spiral, how to make the spiral the exact right size that you need. So there's that one. And here we go. Let's bring this one up here. And this is the one with the extra wire running down the middle. This will be the very, I should say, the bonus content at the end will be this finish here. This is very me. This is a finish that I do quite often. You can see it here, but with more wire. It's a very me finish. And have I got another one? Here we go. I've got another one here. I dug out. So obviously you can see where I've used way more wire, but it's a pretty well much the same finish as this one here. So yeah, cool. Right then, let's crack on with tools. Right, tools for today: flush cutters, chain nose, flat nose, pair of tweezers will come in handy, marker pen, metal ruler, and wire really today is we just might need a very small amount of 0.3, which is 28 gauge, not much, preferably something lying around that you've cut off. That's all you're going to need, because you're not going to be using too much. And also look through your spares box. We're looking for rough wire we've cut off, we don't want to use anymore, just for practicing, as close to your core wire size as possible if you can. But yeah, that's just for some practicing in a minute. So yeah, let's crack on and let's look at our pendants. But to start today, we're just going to work with, at the beginning, we're going to work with the very basic bell. These just 2 bits of wire coming out the sides here. And we're going to roughly go with this kind of design here. Nothing too heavy, nothing too overcomplicated. But before we bend any more wire on here, before we actually commit and start to do something, I want you to have a practice. I want you to get 2 pieces of wire, preferably same size as that. Cut it or get it out your spares box. Keeping them together like so. Pinching. I want you to just start twisting. And as you twist, see, making nice clean swirls. And just keep, there we go. Twisting. Get yourself used to just bending wire with your fingers. See that? Something like that. Just keep going. And just do a few of these, just so you get the hang of creating not a full swirl, even just a semicircle, but create the full swirl, because then this is good practice you can see it wants to come apart. But yeah, you can imagine if that was tied to something like that. So yeah, just do that a few times. Just bend around. Create a shape. 2 pieces of wire next to her. Get it practicing. See, look, that's what we're aiming for when doing something like this. We're going to be doing these kind of swirls here. But yeah, pinch it between finger and thumb. And just, yeah, practice. Practice, practice, practice. So do that a few times on some spare wire. Till you feel confident about creating a nice, smooth in the wire, like so. Let's put that to one side. Let's pick this bugger up. Let's do this. Did I just swear there? I think I just did. I do apologise. I didn't mean to. I do have a potty mouth at times. Yeah, nothing's gone wrong yet. You wait till something goes wrong. I will invent some new swear words. Right, let's crack on. So for this design here, I'm going to start this side. And I'm going to bring this round so it comes to the top. So just very gently, try not to get a kink in here. Just gently pinching the 2 wires together. This is where sometimes your flat nose pliers can come in handy. Have them ready. There we go. See, I'm starting to make a nice bend there. Let's bring that round to the front. Just take your time. Don't go mad. And I want it to come up the bell. Like so. Use your flat nose pliers to help position. Little movements go a long way when doing this. Excellent. I'm pretty happy with that. So you can see just a quick swirl around that. So what we're going to do with the other side is we're going to bring the other side in, but we're going to bring it down this way. There's my tweezers gone. So let's draw that in. So we're going to come in this way. We're still going to have a little bit of sweep there, but we're going to come in around it so it touches just there and then sweeps down the stone towards this bit here. Now be careful of this one. This one could be the tricky one because you don't want to get a kink here. You want those nice smooth bends. So again, use your pliers just to help make little tiny increments of bends. There we go. Now joining there. I'm now going to sweep that one back round so it comes facing here. So maybe push in with your thumb onto the pendant a little bit where you want that sweep. See? There we go. That's starting to go nicely actually. And just there. I'm happy with that. That's pretty cool. Just a little bit of tweak. Get a bit more of a tighter angle on it. Same with that one. There we go. I'm pretty happy about that. That looks pretty cool. Nice and neat and tidy. Now, before we go any further, now you could leave them like that. Create some spirals, bring them down. But you're always going to have a problem of they actually might want to come apart. Or I always say they get subjected to fluffy jumper syndrome, where they could easily get caught on something and pulled away. So before we move on, we have an opportunity to quickly wrap these 2 sides together and bind them to each other, which will help, again, stop it from being pulled apart. And don't worry about the wrap here, because you can bring, as you notice here, we can bring the spirals in just so they sit over the wrap, so they can hide it, so you don't see it just there. So let's do that. Let's wrap that. So this again, taking a bit of a 28 gauge 0.3 mil, cut some off, or if you've got some spare line around, which I did from when I was doing it, we want to wrap these 2 halves together. So it's a little bit of tricky time now. So place your wiring, leave yourself a bit of a tail both sides. and then wrap those two halves together. So time for a bit of sewing. Nice and tight. Give it a bit of pull. There we go. Same again the other side. Now what you can do, you can trim these off either side. But what I like to do, see how it's just got slightly overlapped there? There we go. What I like to do occasionally is, if I can, is I'll put a weave in either side just for stability, just to help it really stay there. But it's all depending whether you're going to be able to see them or not. Yeah, let's do it. I'm going to just put a weave in. When trimming, make sure you're trimming right to the inside in there. Run your finger. Can you feel anything? No. Perfect. Right. I'm going to do the excuse me. I'm going to do the weave the other side now. Right, before we move forwards, we need to think about our spirals. And we want to bring a spiral. We want to take this one here, spiral it down, fit that hole there. Take this one here, spiral it down to fit that hole there. Now, here's the age-old question. How much wire do I need? And especially, how much wire do I need to make a spiral? So there's a really simple answer to this. So let's get ourselves a spare bit of wire. Get your ruler. Grab a spare bit of wire. Marker pen time. I'm just going to do this upside down because it'll make my life easier. And on, again, preferably have the same wire as what you're about to use there. And then on that wire, mark every 5 mil until you've gone to about 3 to 4 centimeters. I got up to 4 centimeters. Every 5 mil. Cool. Let's make the spiral. Right, now you've got your wire and you've marked it every 5 mil down there. I want you to create a spiral. How you would create a spiral. I'm going to show you how I do mine. I like to start with my chain node pliers, gripping the very tip of the wire, the very tip, leaning into my thumb, so hopefully you can see this. I turn over until I've gone about halfway. See that? About halfway. Then using my flat nose pliers, I then proceed to close that gap up. Turning at the same time. There we go. Closed it up. I then start making my spiral. Now for me, my stylized spiral is I like to leave a bit of a gap. See there? And then I start bringing it in. And I'm going to stop. There we go. I've gone 1, 2, 3. I've gone 15 mil. I'm going to stop there. I'm going to take my pendant and I'm going to take my spiral and I'm going to place it over the holes and see what size spiral I need. So obviously remember, think where you're measuring from. So that's about the point there I'll be measuring from. This is a 15 mil spiral and to me it looks a bit too small. Let's check the top one here. Oh, that's perfect. Look at that. That'll be perfect there. So I know that one's going to be 15 mil. Let's do that first. Let's cut that one first. It's great. You can get your ruler in, down to the sides like so. I'm going to cut that one to 15 mil. There we go. Let's create that spiral rolling down. There we go, bringing it into the pendant. Now I'm just going to let it just come over the top of that weave. Just a little bit, there we go, just to slightly hide it. Like I say, we don't particularly want to see that, so I'm just bringing it over the top of the weave. Come back to the last one next. Let's do this one now. So again, taking your dummy spiral that you've made. Oh, it needs to be a little bit bigger. So I'm going to make the dummy spiral, I'm going to roll it another 5 centimeters. So that's a 5 centimeters, 5 millimeters. So that's now a 20 millimeter spiral. Laying it down, that's looking quite close, and I want to lay it over the top of that. In fact, I think this is going to be a 25 millimeter spiral. Let's go the other 5 mil. And then lay it over. Yeah, I'm calling it 25 mil. Brilliant. So again, oopsie-daisy, taking your ruler, measuring from the point your spiral wants to finish, which is about there. It's about there. And then make sure you cut the right one. 25 mil. Make your spiral and roll it down. Now you could do tight spirals. Do you, whatever you fancy. Oopsie-daisy. Close up. There we go. This is just me. This is something I've developed over time. A bit of a signature. Other people make them, but I like to use them. And there's nothing wrong. A good old spiral. A happy little spiral. And we roll it all the way down. Again, as we start coming in, see that, just that nice right size, a little bit bigger. There we go, that's better focus. I'm just going to bring it in so it just comes over to the wrap. There we go. Covering the wrap. As you can see, in fact, let's go to close-up cam. There you can see, just see, covering up those wraps. Right, let's move on and do the other two. So let's finish off now by finishing these ones off. Now, you could measure these. I normally like to make these smaller. So a favourite trick with me, so that one's been 15. I often drop down by 5 to 10 mil. So let's just measure that one off. We'll bring it round a little bit tighter on top of the stone. See, just to get it a little bit. I want it finishing there. I don't need it to be huge. So off that corner. In fact, I'm just going to trim that one down to 8 mil. A tiny one, and we'll come back to this one in a minute, because this one we're going to strap to the outside. Anyway, let's finish this one off. Flush cut, 8 mil. There we go. Pretty pleased with that. It's not too bad. Not too bad. In fact, if I was going to be really picky, take that shape a little bit, turn it just a little bit more. There we go. That's a little bit better. Cool, not too bad. Right, let's do this one. It's a similar thing again here, is that we don't want to be the same size as this one here, but we need to be slightly bigger anyway. But this time, you will have to leave a slight gap, because we're looking... In fact, let's go to close-up cam here. So we need to leave a slight gap in this spiral here. As you can see, we'll go in focus, there we go. We need to strap it to this outside wire. So this is the time a tight spiral is not needed more than anything. So let's crack on and do that one. Right. So again, I'm just going to eyeball this measurement just because I've done this so much. And in fact, I'm probably going to go down to that size spiral there, 15. That to me looks like a perfect size spiral. So I'm measuring from that point there, roughly about there, roughly where the spiral is going to finish. Oops, a daisy. And trimming off like so. I'm going to create my spiral. Oops, a daisy. Whoops, whoops, whoops. Everything's going everywhere today. Rolling down to the front of the pendant. And again, like I say, leaving that you need. I'm looking to leave a gap this time. If you are thinking of bringing any wire down the front of your pendant, you have to consider strapping it to something. You can't just bring a piece all the way down here because it would just get caught. It would just get pulled up. So brilliant. That's perfect. See? There we go. Right next to the end bit there. Right. This is where I recommend grabbing a bit of wrapping wire, 28 gauge, 0.3, just a random piece I've got lying around. It's where your tweezers come in handy. Now carefully use stone, don't scratch it. Or you can use your fingernail. Just get under there. Just lift that up. Just enough to get wire in. There we go. And then a bit of a sewing job here. Leave a little bit of a tail. And then strap in just 3 times. Oh, here's a good tip. Here's a good tip. If you're having trouble doing that, take the end of your wrapping wire and just hammer it flat. Now it should be really easy to push down that hole. So now you hammered your little bit of wire. It's a lot easy just to get under there. See? And out the other side. Also, this is where your tweezers come in handy sometimes as well, pulling stuff through. I say you're only looking at wrapping around no more than 3. You could do it 2. I like 3. There we go, you see? And again, trimming off to the back. Run your finger over. Can you feel anything? I can, just about. No, can't feel nothing now. Excellent. There we go. Looking good. There we go. Finished. Just a nice little binding bit to hold that piece of wire on there. So, very simple finish, just using spirals. You can really do anything. Go for your life. Show me what you're doing. I can't wait to see what people come up with this, because this is where I like to see, because everybody finishes it a little bit different. You can use my engineering up to a certain point, and then you need to start flying on your own. But go for it. Right, I think it's time for some bonus content. Right then, let's get back on with this bonus pendant at the end here. Let's finish this one off. So, similar thing. We're going to be bending this wire around, but we're going to go for a symmetrical finish on this one with some bars. And also just to show you how strapping that wire through the bell becomes a really handy anchor device later on. So let's do the same things we did last time. We're going to be bending these wires again, same method again, but we're going to bring them around to the front and swish them so they come to the top of the bell. So let me get started. Pretty happy with that. Now again, grabbing a spare bit of wire, some wrapping wire, you don't need much. And now we want to bind that together. You don't have to weave, again, just as long as you got a minimum of 3 wraps. There we go. Just got them in tight. Cool. Now again, trim off to make sure you're at the back there. And then push it back to make sure it's nice up and tight up against the bed again. Slightly reshape there. So again, we're looking to make a spirals just to finish this off. So we want to spiral in that hole and spiral in that hole. Going back to your practice spiral that you made earlier on, again, use that or make another one and have a look to see what size spiral. So I know that's a 25mm spiral from what I did earlier. I'm placing it into the hole and it's a little bit too big. A little bit too big. So I would be tempted to say maybe 25, 22mm. Yeah, I'm going to bring it down to like 22mm. I'm going to measure from the wrap because that's where you're not going to be able to make any more spiral. So I'm going to just cut down 22mm. Same again on the other side, measuring from the wrap. Like a glove. Perfect. Now, I'm going to go over to these 2 bits. Oh, excuse me, the dog's barking there. Do apologise. I kind of think this is my butterfly finish because it always reminds me of a butterfly face of sorts. So let's finish these 2 off here. We want them a different size from these ones. I'm going to measure up just 1 centimetre up. This time, I'm going to roll them the opposite direction from the other spirals. And you're looking to create like a little heart on the top there. You know what? I've done a better job of it in the past. That's not too bad. I'm a little bit off. But you know what? This is a workshop. I need to show my mistakes as well. Not the best finish on those 2. No, I'm not happy with that finish, but hey, you get the idea. Now, we're going to take this one here. Now, how much you trim this one down depends, but you want to add a little bit more. So I'm going to trim this one down to 2 centimetres. Now, which way you roll this spiral is up to you. Just going to lift it off the stone a little bit so it's just out of the way. And as I come towards the top, I'm going to roll it, pick it up, and roll it so it sits in the centre, like so. Push me down with my fingers. And what you're doing here is you're looking for it to cover the wrap that holds those 2 at the back together. There we go, that's the front finish. Let's go to the back. So in the last video, I told you not to trim these bits off. You can do if you want to. It's up to you. Let's have a look at the back where I've done it. So it can get a little busy, as you can see. It can get a little busy, so you can add those spirals in. Same method at the front. Bring them round and then place this one over them. But I when I did it yesterday, when I was practicing yesterday, I just thought a little busy. So actually, just for design's sake, I'm actually going to take these off now. Because I've decided I don't need them. But you might want to keep them on. Your design. You do what you want to do. Like I said, I did it yesterday. Wasn't too happy. Got a little busy. Is that better focus? There we go. That's better focus. Now, again, I'm going to roll this one up. And again, make sure I flush cut the end. I just realised I know what I need to do. I need to do a video on flush cutters and how to use them properly. Because beginners often get them mixed up. Anyhow. And again with this one, as you can see here, just roll it over so it comes to the centre of the barrel. Use your pliers to hold it tight and push it back. Excellent. I often think, I like the spiral here because I often think there's a little guard to go, go against the skin, because sometimes wire can be a little bit sharp sometimes if it's rubbed the wrong way. Anyway, there we go. Bonus content. Finished. There you go. 2 very basic finishes just using spirals. And remember, everybody, spirals are your best friends. They can cover up magnitudes of mistakes. So yeah, practice them, stylize them, make them your own. So please join me in the next video where we're going to look at patinaing and how to use liver of sulfur effectively within your work. It's one of my favourite little things I like to do with my work, especially when it comes to sterling silver. Basically what it does, it's like taking a marker pen and drawing an outline around all the lovely weaving and wrapping that you've done and showing it off. So yeah, please join me in that next episode where we'll be learning how to stink out the house. Yeah, it does smell quite a bit. Take care. See you soon. Bye-bye. To support this channel and help me keep making more videos, please come on over to join my Patreon, where you'll get early access to all my videos, free downloads of my books and tutorials, and entries into my giveaways and more.